Hello all. This is Organ Trail. I'm feeling PC-ish, so I'm playing a few PC games at the moment. This one's been on my radar for a few months, but I mainly ignored it, because it's fairly well established that this is referential of an old game called The Oregon Trail. And I gather that if you're from the North American continent, a lot of people played it at school. It's sort of an educational history game, but also considered to be fairly fun. Now, I don't know whether I just went to school a few years too early, or whether it never really took off over here, but I never played the Oregon Trail. We did play education games at school, but the one I remember most clearly is the L game, if any of you ever played that. Oh yes, text adventures. Anyway, so I was ignoring Oregon Trail because I thought I probably won't appreciate it having never played the Oregon Trail. But when I found out a few days ago that it was a mere $2.99 on Desura, or $3.99 if you're buying it from Steam, for some reason. That seems to be a trend recently, Desura being slightly cheaper. Yeah, for that price I thought I might as well give it a go. It seems like it could be interesting. And it's basically attempting to cross the United States while surviving a zombie apocalypse. And you have sort of randomised encounters and you try to manage supplies and that sort of thing. You'll see as we get going. I assume Endless Mode is basically just continuing to trek on and on for as long as possible, but Campaign Mode is trying to cross from the east coast to the west coast of the US. So let's get into that. Yes, I want to overwrite my previous game, because it wasn't going very well. Go with normal difficulty. And we have a little intro here. This will give me a chance to explain this, my major criticism of Oregon Trail, the shooting mechanic. Because the way it works is you have to sort of pull back, like that, as though you're launching something rather than shooting a gun. And aiming is in the opposite direction, so you move the mouse left to aim right, and right to aim left. It's very awkward. And in this sort of situation it's not that bad, because we have a bit of leisure to aim. But when things get a bit hairy, let's say it's got me killed, or at least caused me to take damage several times. The clumsiness of the aiming system. Anyway, this is just the intro, this always happens. You run out of ammo there, this guy saves you. Let's put our name in. You know my name already. And for my 4 friends who are coming with me, I'll just pick some people who tend to watch my videos. So there's my buddy Kieran, Badman as L. Nick Olsen, hello. Nick, you tend to watch my videos. Steve, who may actually appear for co-commentary with me at some point. He lives nearby. I've run out of people I know who watch now, so let's put in a Bob. There's always a Bob. Alright. Let's just click to continue. Basically, he said that we need to go and find this car that he saw nearby. So we're using W, A, S and D to move, in typical PC game fashion. And we could shoot, as before if we wanted to, but there's nothing to shoot here. Still in the intro here. So hop in this station wagon. And off we go. We're trying to make it to DC at this point. And this is just going to introduce us to how the basic mechanics work. This is sort of the main game screen, rolling along in your car and having encounters. These encounters are always the same. Our companion here sustains more and more injuries. You can see his health bar depleting. While I'm in perfect health and the station wagon is mostly in good nick. Here we are rolling up to DC. And he gets bitten by a zombie! Oh god! And we're out of fuel. So we have to roll into DC, which as you can see has been overrun! If you've ever seen The Walking Dead, this should look somewhat familiar. And we hear a radio message as we crawl into town, warning us that DC is about to be nuked to destroy the zombies there, so we need to get out while we still can. Our priestly friend here has heard of a haven way over on the west coast, so now we need to trek across the US. Here we get to assign some stats. We have 12 points here, measured in hours that it takes us to find all these supplies. We could put all of them into one thing like that, but obviously that's not much use. Fuel is pretty important. We can acquire more of all of these during our journey, but stretching out your resources as much as possible is one of the main things you do. So I'm going to go with a couple of fuel, 1 med kit. Money does have its uses, but it's not hugely useful. Still, I'll take 2. I'll take 1 each of these car repair things. Take a couple of foods and a couple of ammos. There we go. That should work. Off we go. That will determine how much of each of those things we start with. So here's my group of friends. I did choose all male names, but 2 of them are women. Never mind, eh? Okay. Because he's been bitten by a zombie, we have to put him down. I prefer to think we're putting him down because he wears this unfetching purple hoodie. That doesn't look anything like his portrait did. Anyway, we aim as before here by pulling in the opposite direction. Very awkward, but here we go. Boom! Take that. He didn't want to become a zombie, so we had to put him down. Alright. Now we get underway, the game proper. Distance to the next landmark is 230. The landmarks and the distances apart are, I believe, always the same, because it's based on the geography of the United States. But the actual encounters along the way seem to be pretty much randomised. So here's our party, all in the car. We can look at stats, our fuel, food, the level of zombie activity in this area, how far we've travelled, all that sort of thing. And if we want, we can stop, which will allow us to basically set up camp at the side of the road. We don't need to do that yet, but I thought I'd click on it just to show you what happens when you do. It has to load here with a series of scrolling dots. Yeah, basically we're going to creep along the road for as long as it takes to get to the far coast of the US. No? Had enough of that? Alright, let's skip that and just get underway instead. Okay. Ah, here we go. It lets us stop now we're actually in motion. I suppose we had to be moving before we could stop. But that lets us sit around this campfire, rest, use a med kit, kill one of us, which is probably, if someone's infected, we have to put them down like we did with the priest, or we can talk to a stranger who's nearby. We couldn't scavenge enough food, we've been eating very small rations. More on that in a minute. But, actually more on that now. We can look at the car, its state of repair, we can set the pace of the car so we can use up more or less fuel. And, you know, probably risk more wear and tear. I'm okay with slow pace at the moment. I guess I'm still fairly new to the game. You can buy upgrades in town and assign them here, don't have any at the moment. And road map, so that's showing us kind of where we're going and the levels of danger and radiation and whatnot throughout, so there we go. The other thing is supply. Trade is basically the strangers that we were talking to, presumably, will also trade some of our gear. So we could trade 1 tyre for 3 fuels. I'm not going to bother though. And there's no one else to trade with at the moment. Rationing, so we can, if we're low on food, we can eat smaller portions and starve ourselves a little bit to make it last longer. Sometimes someone can train us in combat. There's no one here at the moment, but that's something that sometimes happens. Scavenging is pretty important though. It's one of the main ways of getting food. So let's scavenge now, and I can show you how that works. So there's a tin of food. Grab that. And obviously we have to try not to get killed. Holy crap, zombie dog! Get away! Get away! Oh god! Don't pounce at me! No! You see what I mean about how the awkward aiming can sometimes be a problem? Oh god. Alright, zombie caught me, so I'll have sustained some health damage there. But I made it back with 10 ounces of food, which is better than nothing, I suppose. Probably not a fair trade, but it'll serve as a demo. Anyway, let's get underway again. You try to drive through a flooded street, it doesn't work. And a lot of these random encounters that we have will do things to deplete our resources, so they'll slow us down so that we use more food, or they'll damage the car, things like that. So here we go, underway. Nothing happened there, drive a bit more. It's night time as the moon rises in the background. And this is how we proceed. Oh, you rummage 1 tyre off a body at the side of the road. So we've got an extra spare tyre. And sometimes you'll run into something that will require you to make a choice between several options. Steve talks about a time before all this started. Everyone is somber. Oh, well done, Steve. Trust you to kill the mood. Military blockade impedes your progress for an hour. So you get the idea about how this works. Some of the encounters are just text like that. Some of them require you to make a choice. And some of them will be actual mini-games like the scavenging thing was. Here we've arrived in town, where we can do the usual stuff, scavenging and whatnot. But we can also We have this town tab as well now, so we can buy things from traders. Obviously the first aid kit here is a Left 4 Dead reference. The design first aid kit, I should say. I'm not sure what scrap does. I think it lets you make improvised repairs to your car, but I'm not certain. And you can buy all this stuff. I have quite a lot of money, so actually let's not buy any of these things. Let's buy instead something from the auto shop. So we can buy car supplies, or we can buy upgrades. So the upgrade available here is Super Last Muffler, less likely for the muffler to break. Well, I'm not worried about the broken muffler, but I'll buy it anyway. So that's done. Go to the car tab, upgrades, and there you can see it's assigned. Okay. You can also take jobs. So there's a recovery mission. Someone dropped something outside town and they want us to get it back. Unfortunately, difficulty is suicide. Actually, these are both hard. That's difficulty dangerous. They're both recovery missions, actually. Sometimes you have to defend against bandits and that kind of thing. And you hide behind sandbags and have to shoot them and whatnot. So they are quite varied. Let's go with the dangerous recovery mission. Pays us in ammo. And basically here, you have to try and run to the right while dodging the zombie hordes. The item you're looking for will be at the far right. Always, as far as I'm aware. And I find that the best way is to just keep running, basically. Oh god. No, go away. And most of the zombies will fall in behind you in this sort of conga line. So, as a general rule, only shoot them if you absolutely have to. Come on. Oh god, that was close. Come on, come on. Can't be much further now. The music here reminds me a bit of 28 Days Later. There it is. Box the size of a person. You made it! So we've been paid in 62 ammo and we didn't take any damage. Anyway, I think you get the gist of the game here. There are several mini-games that you haven't seen yet, but I think this should be enough to... now we have to pick a choice for how to get out of town through the zombie horde that's surrounding it. Breaking out the guns and fighting your way out is risky. You can hire mercenaries to escort you, but I don't feel particularly rich. Waiting obviously depletes your food and that sort of thing. I usually try to sneak through, and that seems to work reasonably often. So anyway, oh no! We were overrun and the zombies stole a battery, because presumably they need to power their remote. Anyway, this should give you some idea of whether Organ Trail might be something that you would enjoy. The primitive presentation, of course, is a reference to the Oregon Trail, the game that inspired this. So if you like flash presentation, that might put you off. But bear in mind that this game is quite replayable, since you have basically randomised encounters. There are 4 difficulty settings if you find it too challenging or not challenging enough. And it is only $2.99. Or $3.99 if you prefer to use Steam. So, I think it's fair value for money. If it was £10 or even £5, I might be hesitant to recommend it. But for $2.99, I would certainly say give this a try if it seems like something you might enjoy. I don't see myself playing it for months to come, but I am having a good time with it at the moment. So, this has been Organ Trail. As usual, thanks for watching. Rejoin me the next time, but until then, goodbye for now.